A man has lost everything. His children, all of them, gone in a single day. His wealth wiped out, his health collapsed into sores he scrapes with broken pottery while he sits in ashes. And for chapter after chapter, he begs heaven for one thing: not his money, not even his children back. An answer. Why? Why did this happen? He demands that God take the witness stand and explain. And then God finally speaks, out of a storm. And here is what should stop you cold. God does not explain. He does not give a reason. Instead, he starts describing animals. A wild donkey that laughs at the city, an ostrich that forgets her own eggs. And then, at the very peak of it, the most breathtaking piece of nature writing in the entire Bible. A warhorse, its neck clothed with thunder, laughing in the face of the sword. Why? Why would God answer the deepest suffering in all of Scripture with a poem about a horse? What is he actually saying? And why, when the poem ends, does the broken man fall silent, not crushed, but satisfied? There are theories that God is bullying Job into submission, that it's just ancient decoration, that the horse is a code for something else. But the truth, what that thunder-necked horse really means, is stranger and far more tender than any of them. Let me show you. To understand the horse, you have to understand the wreckage it rides into. The book of Job may be the oldest book in the entire Bible. Its setting is ancient, a land called Uz, a world of tents and herds and open sky, before kings, before temples, and Job is a good man. That's the whole scandal of the story. He isn't being punished for secret sin. The book goes out of its way to tell you he was blameless, and yet, in the space of an afternoon, everything is torn from him. Raiders take his oxen, fire takes his sheep. A great wind collapses the house where all 10 of his children are feasting, and they are gone. And then his own body turns against him, head to foot. For most of the book, his friends sit with him and try to explain it. And every explanation they offer is the same tidy lie. You must have done something to deserve this. Job knows he didn't, so he does something almost unthinkable for an ancient man. He puts God on trial. He demands a hearing. He says, in essence, I have questions, and I want them answered to my face. And for chapters, heaven is silent. The silence is its own kind of agony. Until finally, the sky splits. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. God shows up, and every reader for thousands of years has leaned in at this exact moment, waiting for the explanation. Here it comes. Now God will tell Job why, but he doesn't. Instead, God begins a breathtaking tour of the wild world. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Can you bind the stars? Do you feed the lions? Do you know when the wild goats give birth in the high rocks? Who set the wild donkey free? And on, creature after untamed creature, the hawk, the eagle, the ostrich, until he arrives at the horse. And he asks Job the question that unlocks everything. Hast thou given the horse strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with thunder? So let's ask what most people never stop to ask. Why the horse? Why is this the answer? Start with the harshest one, and it's more common than you'd think. God is bullying Job. This reading says the whole speech is a power move, the Almighty flexing his cosmic muscles to shut a suffering man up. As if God is saying, who do you think you are to question me? I'm enormous. You're a speck. Silence. And people point to Job putting his hand over his mouth as proof he's been beaten into submission. But here's what most people overlook. If God only wanted to crush Job, he didn't need 40 lines about a horse's nostrils. Cruelty is efficient, beauty is not. And this passage is not efficient, it is lavish, it lingers, it delights. Listen to it. He paweth in the valley, and rejoiceth in his strength. He mocketh at fear, and is not affrighted, neither turneth he back from the sword. That is not the language of a bully grinding someone down. That is the language of an artist, showing a friend his favorite work, saying, look at this. Isn't it magnificent? God isn't humiliating Job. He's inviting him into wonder. Now the second theory, the academic shrug. It says, this is just ancient nature poetry, a beautiful but essentially decorative interlude, filler with no real bearing on Job's suffering. Skip it, they say, and get to the real conclusion. But that theory can't survive a close look at the placement, because this poem sits at the climax of the single most important speech in the book, God's only direct words to Job in 42 chapters. Nothing here is filler. Every animal in the parade is chosen, and the horse comes near the very top of the list. In a book that is agonizing over the question of suffering, God spends his breath describing a creature that laughs at fear. That is not decoration. That is the point, hidden in plain sight. And once you see why, you can't unsee it. Here's a third theory, and it's subtler. It says the horse is an allegory, a symbol standing in for something else. Maybe for the armies of Israel, maybe for war itself, maybe for some spiritual force. Decode the symbol, and you'll have the meaning. And I'll be honest with you, the way a teacher should. This one overreaches. The passage isn't a riddle wrapped around a hidden object. God is not pointing past the horse to some secret referent. He is pointing at the horse, the actual breathing, muscled, fearless animal, and asking Job to really see it. The meaning isn't behind the horse, it's in the horse. And that is exactly where the real answer has been waiting the whole time. So let's finally step into it. Here is what God is doing. Job asked a why question. Why this pain? What is the reason? And God answers with a who. He does not hand Job a reason, he hands Job a world. And the horse is the crown of that world, because the horse is everything Job's tidy, controllable, explainable universe is not. Look at how the passage describes it and feel the wildness in every line. Its neck is clothed with thunder. The Hebrew word there rumbles, a quivering storm-charged mane that no man wove. The glory of his nostrils is terrible. The word means awe-inspiring, dreadful, the kind of beauty that makes your breath catch. It swalloweth the ground with fierceness and rage. It mocketh at fear. And then the most astonishing line in all of animal literature, he saith among the trumpets, ha, ha, and he smelleth the battle afar off. The horse laughs. In the place where Job trembles, the horse laughs. It runs toward the very thing every sane creature runs from. Now understand what God is showing him. Job wanted a universe he could audit, a world where good is rewarded, evil is punished, and every event comes with a receipt he can read. And God unrolls in front of him a creation that is wild and fierce and joyful and utterly beyond his management. Job did not give the horse its strength. Job did not clothe its neck with thunder. Job did not teach it to laugh at the sword. There is a whole world of glory roaring along that Job neither made nor controls, nor even fully understands. And it is good. It is not chaos. It is not cruelty. It is a wild, fearless, God-authored magnificence. And that is the answer to Job's suffering. not a reason, a relationship. God is saying, if the world is this vast, this wild, this far beyond your ability to explain, then the question is not whether you can understand my reasons. The question is whether you can trust the one who makes thunder-necked horses and sends them laughing into battle. You cannot hold the reins of this creation, Job, but I can, and I am good. And here's the detail that changes how you read the whole book. When it's over, Job never gets his explanation. Read the ending. God never once tells him about the wager in the heavens, never explains the why. And yet Job says the strangest, most peaceful thing. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. He didn't get answers, he got God. And it turned out that God, the God who could make such a horse, was the answer he actually needed all along. Let me bring this down to where you live, because you have sat in Job's ashes. Maybe you're sitting in them now. Something happened that you cannot explain, and no one has been able to give you a reason that holds. The friends came with their tidy theories. Everything happens for a reason. God needed another angel. You'll understand someday. And every one of them landed like a stone. You wanted the why. You are still in some quiet room of your heart, waiting for the why. And here is the hard and holy thing this passage offers you. You may never get it. God did not give it to the most righteous sufferer in the entire Bible. But what he gave instead was himself, a glimpse of a world so wild and so magnificently held that Job could finally exhale. Picture that warhorse one more time, neck like thunder, laughing at fear, charging fearless into the very thing that terrifies you. That horse is not afraid, because the horse is not in charge, and the horse is somehow at peace with that. And God set that creature in front of a broken man as if to say, "This, I am offering you this, not an explanation you could carry, a fearlessness you could rest in. The freedom to stop demanding to understand the storm, because you have finally met the one who rides it." Job asked God for a reason. God gave him a horse, and somehow, impossibly, beautifully, it was enough. Because when God finally spoke into the deepest pain in the Bible, he did not explain the wound. He revealed the one whose hands are big enough to hold it. And a heart that has truly seen those hands can laugh, like the horse, at what it used to fear. If you want to go one step further into that same storm, to the two creatures God saved for last, Behemoth and Leviathan, the most mysterious animals in all of Scripture, that video is waiting for you right on screen. And if you made it this far, consider subscribing. We're following the hidden thread that runs through the oldest words ever written, one wonder at a time. Come further in.